Alright guys, so this video's been split up a little. Matt left me hanging on another Whiskey Wednesday, so I've drank my whiskey earlier. As you can see, it's getting dark out. It's not quite dark yet, but we're going to go ahead and heat treat this guy. I've got it where I want it. The only thing left is to grind out the back. Not worried about that. I'm going to do an edge quench so I don't have to worry about temper too much. I'm going to bring you along. We're going to fire up the forge, get it up to critical. The way I'll get it up to critical is I will get it hot enough so the magnet doesn't stick to it, and then I'll dip it in the oil. I'm going to try to get you in a good spot where you can see everything that's going on. Might be difficult. Hopefully it works out. I'll bring you along for what you see is what you see. And then next step, probably not tonight, probably be Saturday. Today's Wednesday, so Saturday. I'll grind this back part out the way I want it. Go ahead and get my handle scales ground down. All that good stuff. That'll all be in this video, but it'll be broke out over the course of a couple days. So it'll be a shirt change. If not, you should be concerned. Anyways, so here we go. Don't worry, that ended up in the water bucket very, very conveniently. I didn't realize what was happening until my water bucket was on fire. So, into the fire, here we go. So the knife's just about hot enough. This is just some vegetable oil. This coil spring, I'm afraid that water's gonna get it too hard, and will crack and warp the blade, all sorts of bad. So we're gonna use vegetable oil. I'll test it for hardness, make sure it's good and hard before we move on. So I mentioned it was dusk out. The important part of that is I can see the color better. I might even go ahead and shut this light off. No, I won't because you can't see. I'm going to leave it on. So get a nice even color. Looks like all the way to the back. Going to check it. All my edges non-magnetic. Going to try to switch tones so I can grab it there and just dump. Once all the red's out of it, I'll submerge the whole thing, pull it out, using multiple tones here. Multitasking again. That's another video. So now we're gonna, don't drop it. Don't drop it. So I'm gonna look down the edge. And my magnet's not in my pocket. My edge is straight, but my handle's warped. Say that actually the whole thing's a little warped. Let's check the hardness. Skating off of it pretty good, but I'm just not happy with the not quite happy with the way the blade looks warp wise. I don't know, it's not bad. It's mostly in the stinking handle. Much to grind out. Let me look at it a minute, see what I think. Alright, so I'm just not happy with it. I'm going to bring it up to heat to critical twice so the magnet doesn't stick. I'll do that twice. Then I'll heat treat it again, dip it again, and see if I can't do it without the warp. In one of those heat seat cycles, I'll bend that tang back straight. Or what I'm calling the tang. I still don't think that's what it's called. I should look that up. Go from there. I'm just not happy with it, and this is sold. This is actually going to somebody. So if I'm not happy with it, I shouldn't sell it. So I'm gonna work it out. It's still salvageable. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, guys. Just to show you a little something here. Heat it up to point magnet wouldn't stick to it twice, let it cool slowly. My file eats into it again, so I have softened it. So, I forgot to straighten that edge out. So I gotta get it hot again, anyways, temper it. I'll get it hot again, straighten that edge out, and I'll bring you along once I'm back to the quench. Alright guys, I think I'm getting the hang of this. I've got this piece of steel the same color, temperature 3 times here, so we're gonna grab, flip the tones, drop those, then I'll check it, then I'll dip it. Just letting that cool down. I really hope I hit start. I did. Alright, it's all black. We're going to dip it the rest of the way. Oh, I don't see any warp this time. Don't see any warp. Twist you guys up here. What do you guys think? Looks pretty stinking straight to me. That looks beautiful. Beautiful. Hard to get that lined up for you guys so you see what I think I'm seeing. So that's beautiful. Let's check it for hardness. Put it in my apron. Skating across just beautifully, and that's still hot. Just absolutely skating across that, not biting at all. That is beautifully hard in a good way. Gonna let it cool out the rest of the way. I'm gonna set it outside, it's a little cooler out there. That's the 3rd time tonight I've burnt myself. There it is, it's hard. Alright guys, get my apron situated. Okay guys, here we are at the grinder today. So, working on the friction folder. So we're ready to start working it up. Not gonna be a whole lot to talk about today, just a lot of grinding. So first thing, I'm starting with an 80 grit. And I think I've got a 120 and a 320, and 320 is where I'll stop. I might do some hand polishing on the blade. I did last time. We'll see. We'll see. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this 80, sand out the flats, then I'll start working on the bevel. And then at some point I've still got to touch up this end. Still don't like that. So, key to today is cool, cool, cool. So I got a jug of water over here off camera. So you'll see me work for a bit, dip, work for a bit, dip. And then the other key is I'm not going to wear any gloves. So if this gets hot enough that I don't want to hold on to it, I need to cool it down. I'm not going to worry about putting tape on for the Ricasa. The Ricasa is pretty well defined. It's just going to get in my way when I'm transitioning. So here we go. For a while, sand all that's left out in the 80 grit, then jump up to the 120, couple passes on it, and then I'll jump to the 320 to finish the edge. Alright guys, so I fibbed to you. I don't have any 80 grit sandpaper. Lowest thing I got is 220. So I'm going to do some handwork, get this up to 220, and slowly cry as my fingers bleed from all the sanding. Just kidding, here we go. Paper rolls. This lightest paper I had was 220. So I'm jumping straight to 320 on the belt sander. I'm gonna hit the edges, and the final thing I'll do will be put the final edge on this at 320. We'll see how that looks. If I don't like it, what might end up happening is I might hand sand the whole thing, edge and all, at 400 grit. But at 320 should be good. I used to always stop at 220, so this should be good. This depression here is the only thing that bothers me, really. That's why I hate using an angle grinder to clean things up, but that was the way this cookie crumbled. So here we go. Alright guys, so I thought when I was working up here I was doing really good getting this spot out, and it looks like I did, but then yeah, I totally messed it up. So I'm running tight on the deadline for this knife, so I don't have the option to start over, because at this point that's really what I want to do. The knife will work, it functions, it's just not pretty. Alright guys, so I'm close to ruining this knife. So what I'm going to try is, I've thrown a coarser grit on the belt sander. I'm going to try to sand this whole thing down thinner, try to keep it uniform or symmetric. I'm going to devote, I don't know, an hour or so to this. I'm trying. Air compressor kicked on. So I'm going to try to devote about an hour to this. I'm going to see what I can do to fix that. So we're going to go ahead, and I got a 40 grit belt on here. I'm going to put a dust mask on. Wood really bothers me, so. And then we're just going to eat into this, and we're going to throw some sawdust. So I'm going to throw that mask on, and we'll take to it. Gonna put a clamp on it and try to hold them together to get it started. If they start to move around too much on me, I'll stop, do one at a time, then I'll pin them together and finish them that way. So that's what we're gonna do. that got me pretty stinking close. Close enough for that. So, talking about laying out the pins. So this is what I got right now. I use this to visualize because I've got it all together now. But what I did to start with is I drew this out on paper. Just basically I came up with a blade shape. I drew it out, and then I took that, I traced it onto a piece of trace paper so that I could keep my original copy. I did this a couple times. Then I took that piece of trace paper and I drew a handle shape around it like that. So I laid that piece of paper in there. I drew kind of a handle shape so that the handle sit in there, so that the blade sit in there nice. So actually, so let's see. So just, and then this is how I proofed it out. So if this pin is right here, that keeps the blade from going in too terribly far. You can flip it out with this. Then I miss it, okay? So that doesn't work. So what if I set it right there? Catch it, but I don't like it because that was the problem I don't like with mine. I don't like how the top hits. So can I set it somewhere in this belly area? If I set it there, and I've moved. Anyway, so this is the process I've done for how to lay this out. There, bam. That's the exact same problem I have. Okay. How about here? And this time, if I can even move this up a little further. So, problem is that's awful close to that hole that I've already got there. So, just keep working it till I get it right where I like it. Like that, but that's a little too low. So can I come straight up till that's flush? About right there. And when the knife's closed, it looks like that. I think that's what I like. So, of course, I don't have a hammer handy. I'm going to use this clamp here. Just tap that in there. It's going to give me a mark to drill out. Ta-da! So when I go to hold the knife, I think I like that. I think that's where it's going to go. Maybe. I need to get those. I need to get that other hole drilled at an 1/8 inch. Then I need to line up those all with an 1/8 inch. Then what I'll do is I'll cut some short pins. I probably won't bring you along for all this. I'll cut some short pins. Pins that'll be the right size. They'll be a little tall for what I'm trying to do, but I can fight through it. So I can pin this all together so I can hold it, sand out to the final point so they both match. Then I'm actually going to use these for the insides. I'll test fit it and go from there. Well, I'll test fit, and I'll go ahead and walk you through the rest of it. So once I get it test fit, then I have to create a shim to space this apart back in the back. So I got some scraps of this oak. So I'll put a piece of that scrap back there. That'll create an arbitrary space back there. Put a final sand on everything that I can't get to once it's assembled. Glue, final sand. Finish, and it'll be done. Well, I'll have to put the final edge on it. I'm pretty sharp, but not quite razor sharp. So that's where we're going. Okay, guys. So here's the final fit up practice. Oops. So I cut a little shim piece. This just goes back in here, and I want it to hang out like that. I'll contour to shape. So this up here is going to be pinched tighter than it is at the back. That's what will actually make the friction folder kind of stay. So feels a little blocky, but the flip of it works. Try to get where you can see all that. So all that works. So next thing I'm going to do before I pin it all in place is I'm going to contour these edges a little more, radius this in, radius that in. I'll just keep test fitting, radiusing, test fitting, radiusing, and radiusing, whatever, and keep slaving away at it. Then once it's all about ready, I'll put epoxy on the pins, peen the pins over and epoxy this in place, and let it cure overnight before I stain it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Alright guys, so I did a little bit of hand sanding. Finished it out about 120 grit. So I am ready to glue it together. I have to be very careful to only glue the pin to the wood and the wood to the wood, and not the blade itself. That's all there is to it. So last step is I'm gonna take some time and hand sand all this wood, probably do about 220, and then I'm not gonna bring you along, that's boring to watch. Hand sand it to 220, and then I'll go ahead and stain it. And then last, very final step is put the final edge on it. But next thing I will show you is the final product. So there it is now. Be back in a while. Alright guys, so here's the finished friction folder. It's a little stiff. It'll take some use for it fully ready to go. But that'll also keep it from opening and closing on yourself. So I like it. Looks good. Went ahead and applied some oil on the blade to keep it from rusting. Remember, it's carbon steel, so you got to keep reapplying. Got a dark chestnut stain on it. And that's finished product, and even the engraving. Man, that lighting makes my handwriting look even worse, but that's what it is. So hope you enjoyed this video. Time to play some fetch with the dog. See you next time. Like, comment, and subscribe.